No.
All right. How about you first introduce yourself a little bit, say who you are, and yeah.
Have you started?
Yeah.
You've started, okay. Okay, hello, my name's Alex, but I think you wanted to ask me a question first of all, something about waking up to the new world or something like that.
Right. How did you first come across the alternative information, the alternative media? How did you first wake up to this whole other world that is running along the supposedly normal world?
I think the main way was actually a couple of people just mentioning, not urging me, just mentioning that I should watch some film called Zeitgeist a few years ago. I didn't really know what it was about, and I just watched it, and I didn't necessarily believe everything in it, but I suppose 9/11 was the main thing that struck me. I just really hadn't looked into anything to do with 9/11, to be quite honest, at all. And I then went on a sort of deep journey of, if you like, trying to kind of debunk that it wasn't an inside job, if you like, because I kind of, and I haven't been able to do that, I should add, because I think probably when I first saw just the footage in that film, I mean, I'm no great fan of I should add, the Zeitgeist movement or anything like that. It's just one film of many that you can watch in 9/11.
Yeah,
there are,
sure.
Well, I don't know, there are probably hundreds out there, but I've probably watched at least, I don't know, I have no idea, 20 sort of proper actual full films. Zeitgeist was just the first one, and I probably kind of knew that it was essentially, there was a whole alternative story, not in other words, not the official story. The official story was complete bullshit. Very early on, but I then had to go and actually try and work out how the hell can that be the case, and if that can be the case, then what other implications are there for society and everything beyond that? So then looking into 9/11, which is always, I think, a good place to start, you get led in so many different areas, and things flow on from there, and you have to question so many different aspects of engineering to aeronautics and controlled demolitions and so many more things.
Right.
I suppose that's my basic answer, that is in fact the first thing that made me question, well, that put me onto this kind of alternative information.
All right, so this was also the first big theme you were interested in the beginning, right?
Yeah, that would be the first big theme. I mean, whatever happened on specifically that day, I don't think we'll ever find out. We'll ever really know in our lifetimes. And you can you're free to have whatever little theory you like about it, but it's fairly obvious that possibly the most foolish theory is of course the official conspiracy theory. This is pretty clear if you go and have a look into the facts, the evidence. There's so much of it. It's just it never ends with 9/11. But that's what's good. That's what's good about looking into 9/11 is you then find out so much more about banking issues and put options on stock of airlines involved, and then you get led into banking areas and so much more. So 9/11 is a good place, as good a place as any to start, I'd say.
So what do you think is really going on right now? What is going on in this world at the moment? What is your puzzle piece of the picture?
I think what's going on is probably what's always been going on, a massive confusion, and all sorts of things are very confusing. Reality is very strange, maybe even stranger than fiction, and there's fiction mixed in with reality. It never ends really. I'm not one. I'll never be able to, pronounce definitively on what is ever going on in the world, or what has ever gone on, or whatever will go on, really. So whatever I say is somewhat irrelevant, really.
Yeah, right.
It's confusing. It's very confusing. There's a different theory. There's different information on any subject you care to choose. You'd have to ask me more specifically. I don't know. I don't know. Politically, socially, pick any area you choose.
All right.
Really.
So, what would you say politically? What is going on right now in the world? At least in the Western world. I mean, that's how far we can go. You know.
Oh, we can go further than that.
Yeah, sure.
We can go further than that. Well, I mean. Well, one little answer that I'll give, something that you just reminded me of, is I was reading an article from the Council on Foreign Relations a few weeks ago called "The Hard Road to World Order," and in that article, you can find this on the Council on Foreign Relations website. It's called "The Hard Road to World Order." It's quite a long, boring policy document, but it's basically all about sort of how to achieve world government and what where they were at the time, and various interesting details. That's 1974, that article, and in the summary, which you can read online. I think you have to buy the full article, but you could download the PDF. But just in the summary, it's very interesting. But in that summary, they talk about reality being a very confusing, complex mess, if you like. So that kind of ties back to what I was saying before. So I guess part of the idea, to answer the sort of political question, is, I guess, if you like, from the political elite, or beyond political, sort of systemic establishment elite, what they're trying to do is create their order, stop things being messy and confusing and complex. So I guess from their perspective, that is them having everything nicely and neatly ordered, controlled by them. So I think probably every day that there are, hundreds, thousands of these different organisations and groups working, sometimes together, sometimes not together, but broadly speaking, one way or another, to that kind of agenda of bringing the world under one sort of rule, world government, if you want to call it that. I think that's what's going on politically, without getting too specific.
All right. And how do you approach your life after knowing what you know right now?
How do I approach it? I don't know if I think you learn to question things a lot more. I think just everything that goes on, I think you learn to see different levels in everything that you do. So you learn to see someone's agenda in doing anything, and it's not necessarily they've got a bad agenda, but you just see that someone might be saying something. There might be more of a reason. There might be something more behind why they're saying that. So I suppose that's one answer. You pay a lot more attention to your surroundings. I think before when you just had a sort of comfortable life, if you like, when you had, it was sort of blissfully ignorant, I could put it that way. You kind of think that someone's always taking care of things, and I guess things are going on just fine, and if something's in the shops, food's in the shops, then it must be fine to eat, must be perfectly okay for you, and that sort of decision that was made, I guess it's in the best interest. So you learn a lot more to question that and not think, I guess that is perfectly okay. So you pay a lot more attention to the complicated levels that reality works on, I think. So, but in terms of how I live my life, I don't know if it's that much different to before. It's not, from my perspective, that I was living a life where I was someone who was had loads of stock options, or loved playing stock market, or was living a particularly wealthy, opulent life. So it wasn't as though I realised suddenly, oh wow, that's really bad, I can see the error of my ways, I'll change from that. I'm not trying to say that I'm some wonderful human being, but I wasn't, in my case, in my opinion, treating people really badly or doing a particularly corrupt thing that I then realised, shit, I better stop doing this. I mean, I am employed. I do work, technically speaking, I work doing something that is to do with media, if you like, distributing propaganda. You could say. I'm not going to get into what it is here, but it's not working for the media itself. So I'm mindful, if you like, that I'm connected to that in the system, and I could say that by continuing to do that sort of makes me continue to be part of the problem. So if we're talking sort of ethically speaking, you could say I should not do that, but maybe there are probably many more things that
the only person that is supposed to judge you is yourself. So
yeah, I mean,
if you're good with your consciousness, I think everything's all right. I mean, you're here. You're trying to do things. You're trying to connect with people that are awake. So. I mean, nobody's perfect. Everybody has to get by in this shitty system somehow. So.
Well, I mean, it's a bit like knowing I'm not actually sure of the clothes that I'm wearing specifically where they come from, but I'll wager there's a good chance that they come from somewhere like China, with people being paid slave wages. So technically, I probably shouldn't buy them. Sure. I'm not a heavy consumer. I try to buy. I try to buy very little, and I buy very few clothes, for instance. But I don't specifically go and seek out things that weren't made in China. I mean, I use computers, and I think you'll have a problem finding electronics that don't come, for instance, from China.
Sure.
So it is a system where you are. I think if you participate, if you like. If you want to call what you might want to just call modernity in the modern world, sort of on the grid, you are very much connected to it. So if you understand these things, you will find that you are, in a way, a hypocrite, if you like.
Sure,
by continuing to participate.
Even this, when it gets out, it will be on YouTube, and that is hypocritical.
Google,
by Google.
Using Google.
It doesn't get more hypocritical than this. It's right, but that's where we get our information from these days. So. Yeah, we all just try to do what we can. That's it. Yeah, sure.
Exactly. So
I feel you.
Yeah. So it's complicated if you want to be an extremist and just tell people, completely abandon all the modern world. Well, if there are those people, then so be it. Good luck to them. But there are a lot of people who they live where they live. They live in a city. They do what they do. It is extremely difficult, and a lot of people who are, I see, putting out that propaganda aren't doing it themselves. And if they were doing it themselves, we probably wouldn't be hearing from them. Because how would we be hearing from them unless you went out to wherever they are, completely off grid, out in the countryside, and interviewed them, and they said, "Actually, I did do that." I think most of the people, anyone who's got a camera or something appearing on YouTube, making films, telling you to do this stuff, they aren't doing it themselves, clearly, because they are still using the internet, using YouTube.
Sure. And I would include myself in that completely. So, as a last question, what would you like to say to a person that is maybe clicking on this video, just randomly watching it? Just a little message. The person watching you right now, having this thoughts.
Well done for staying this long in my rambling. I don't know. What would I like to say to them about living life in general? I don't really want to give anyone tell anyone what they should do or they shouldn't do in life. Be a good person. Do as you would be done by. And I'm no religious person at all. But I think it's one of the best philosophies, maxims ever, really. And unless you're a masochist. and you like pain, don't then give up pain to other people. Check if they're masochists first. I would say, but otherwise, do as you would be done by is a pretty good thing, and try and be honest, try and be decent at all times to all people. Try and be as open-minded as you can. Treat people well. Just be nice to people. If your question was more related to you mean something political?
The question was related to what you think it is related to.
Okay.
So if you think you have answered it, you have answered it, and it's all right. If you think you have something to add something.
A little message to people. I don't know. Enjoy life. It's it's short, and it's also reminds me of a Chris Rock joke. Chris Rock, the comedian. Yeah, no. Life is long if you're stuck with the wrong person. People say life is short. It's a lot funnier when he does it. But yeah. Enjoy life. Try and be good to other people. Don't live too much in fear in all sorts of ways, and have a laugh.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's great.